I'm Becky Salicki.
I'm Sarah Wilson.
I'm Sarah Robson.
I'm Helen Alderson, and this is our football journey.
Can you just, to start with, just tell us how you got into football, what inspired you, and when did you start to play, what age, and who for? Becky, if you want to start.
I started off playing basketball, and then because of my family's industry, we moved quite a lot, and when I moved to the place where I now live, football was just what everyone was playing, and there was me and another girl who played, and that was it. And then I just played all the way through and never stopped.
So
I started when I was 9 playing for Bolton Jets under 10s boys team, and it was just because of my dad. My dad was football mad, so.
I didn't really have a team because they wouldn't let girls play footy as usual. So I just played in the back garden with my dad when I was really little. That's all I remember. And then it wasn't really until I was old I got to play for a team.
I started playing when my dad wouldn't play in the garden with my brother, and so my brother used to make me go and goal. And like, I was 5 years old and he was 10. He used to bray balls in it. He used to have rules like the game wouldn't end until I had the ball in my hands, so he like taught us not to parry it and to catch it and that kind of thing. And then I eventually signed for Bolton girls. I went along to a boys team once, and then they left us and said girls wouldn't play football. So I never went back and went to a girls team. Probably. And then I played from there, and then eventually signed for Sunderland Centre of Excellence.
And obviously you all, apart from Mark, obviously said you started in grassroots, and in the North East that's such a massive thing, and it must have been great to get that grounding, which will have helped you now, and the experiences you had there must have helped.
Yeah, I mean, there was no girls teams when we first started playing. There was no girls teams at all, and then it got to age, I think, maybe 11 or 12 when you weren't allowed to play for the boys teams anymore, and that's when it kind of started getting introduced a little bit more, but it wasn't really that competitive because we had to go and play Centre of Excellence, and there wasn't that many games and things like that involved. So yeah, I'd kind of get all your experiences with playing with boys teams up until that age.
And when you got older and into your teenage years, obviously I know Becky, you started playing with Jordan Nobbs and things like that. What kind of experiences did you have as you got into your teenage years?
I remember when I was playing for Bolton, sometimes used to put us up in age group, so it was with like Jill Scott was playing and a few others who were still pretty decent, so that got us a bit of experience playing with older people, but it was just really good, like the competitive side of things, because it was just like the most important thing in the world to win the league or win the cup, and that just kind of gave you a big taste for it. And then when, like Sarah was saying, for Sunderland there wasn't much for Centre of Excellence when we were younger, which is good now that they've got that and they've got that set up. But it was lucky that they did have the girls' league set up to give us that competitive element.
Well, there wasn't much around. I remember when I was young, in my teenage years, I used to have to travel like 40 minutes to go to find the most local club. And you look around now, and there's that many different like girls. Like everyone you seem to talk to knows someone who now girls who play football, or there's something popping up here, there, everywhere. And it's so much better nowadays, isn't it? There's so much more opportunity for everyone.
It's brilliant. You look at the opportunities available now, and you just wish they were there maybe how many years ago? I remember playing for under 13s. You played 7-a-side, and I played for Bolton, and the nearest competitors were Martin from Middlesbrough, and we lost the league against them on goals scored, so it wasn't like goal difference or goals against. They scored one more goal against us, and it was one of the worst things that's ever happened to us. It was literally, I can look back on it and it hurts me hard. It's awful. So yeah, it definitely gave you some interesting experiences.
You mentioned the competitive side, but another big thing is the social side, and I'm sure you'll have all made friends at that age that you're still friends with now through football, and that's such a massive thing in women's football.
I mean, I met you, didn't I, through the reserve team at Sunderland, and then it's like I played with 4 different teams now. It's like you through Sunderland as well, and then coming to Durham, like Iceland. Like it's the social side. It's like you meet friends and you never really get rid of them, but it's a tight bond that you have because you go through all the hard times together and you go through all the good times together. So you do make that bond that I don't think you might make with other people.
Mark, how different was it in Northern Ireland? What was the women's pathway like there?
I remember playing in schools a little bit, but it was funny because your life set out for you, because there never was a women's team or anything. But whenever I turned about 13, they started a women's team, so I met in a local social club, and we entered the women's league. And I remember writing the wrong date of birth down on my thing. I was a year younger. I used to just pick things. I was 13 playing in the women's league, so off we went to play all these teams, and like we used to play against all the Belfast teams, and that we were the proper country bumpkins. So I just remember they all like playing whenever we were like 13 against these full-grown 30-year-old women that were playing like Gaelic football and stuff. So I stayed there for a couple of seasons, and then I went to a club in the top league, but we were about like 4th division. I used to cycle to training in the matches and just play. But there was no pathways. No kids played. Weren't allowed to play in the boys' leagues. There was nothing compared to England. Like at that time, there is all now, but at that time there was nothing at all. It was really only whenever you got to about 16 that then you started playing a bit more competitively in like the higher leagues, but nothing.
And you mentioned there obviously playing senior football at a young age, and that's something that you kind of all got to benefit from. And what was that like, making that step up?
I remember my first training session was there. I was 13, moving up to Sun and Women, but obviously I couldn't play till I was 14. And my first ever training session, one of their older girls, Karen Scorer, we were playing 11v11 and they had a corner. And they put the corner in, I went up to catch it, and she absolutely just lodged me and the ball in the back of the net. And it was like, it was like a big welcome to women's football, but it was really good, and it was really beneficial as well. So I realised that I couldn't do that in football, so it was good to have that introduction. And but again, just the opportunities and the structure now is a lot more in place to help people make a much more smooth transition.
It's capped now at 16 though, like when we first started you could move into a women's team, I think, was it 14?
Yeah. Which is mental to think about now.
Having 14-year-olds, I mean we've obviously got a lot of young ones coming through with Durham, but you just think you were so young going into these women's leagues, and it was just another level. It just completely opened your eyes. But looking back now, it was good, but the opportunities that are there now to develop properly through the game and do it safely is probably a little bit better.
Because it was character building, you did lose quite a lot of girls who with maybe too much of a step and had all the ability and all the skill, but then it was just too much of that physical step too soon.
Absolutely.
Whereas we do have, obviously we can bridge a gap a bit now.
And Mac, I mean, there's some photos of you, fresh-faced 18-year-old, taking on Casey Stoney for England, and what kind of an experience was that?
I went to America and got fat. I was only a little child then. That was the problem, because then we were all, whenever I was growing up, there was no senior women's team, like Northern Ireland team, so we all turned 16 and pretty much got our call-ups. So there was like me, Rachel Furness, there was 2 or 3 other girls that went on to play in England, and even Julie, who played here, that were babies, and we were the senior team. So off we went to play internationals against Sweden, girls that had played maybe 100 times to their country, and here's us little babies, just never even, probably played about 10, 11 side games in our lives playing against Sweden. And then we went to Algarve, and England were there, so Casey Stoney, Karen Carney had first come into the squad, and now they've went on successful careers, but it was just, you never thought anything of it then, you just expected that to happen all the time, whereas now looking back, imagine a 16-year-old making a debut for the country, it's a massive thing. So no, it was unreal. Now when I look back, at the time, you don't even appreciate it. You're just I'm just playing international football.